everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be talking about all different kinds of things for your hair. So one of the things I want to talk about that not many people know about or use is vinegar infusions, and we are going to be using apple cider vinegar because it has so many benefits on its own for hair growth, but we are going to be making an infusion. And so with this infusion, we are going to be using fresh herbs out here in my garden. So right here we have some lavender, and right here is some sage. I also have some basil and lemon balm. But today we are going to be working with sage and lavender, and here's why. Sage is super good for clarifying the whole entire scalp. It stimulates hair growth, and it can actually help people that have gray hair because it restores the melanin in your hair, and it can actually make your hair darker. So this isn't ideal for people who have blonde hair or lighter color hair in general, because it can make it a little bit darker. Not much, but it can make a difference. So on the sage infusion, you want to stay away from that, but it still has amazing benefits if you have darker hair or you don't mind your hair possibly be getting a little bit darker. But it's super good for clarifying the scalp. It's good for greasy hair. It restores your pH balance on your scalp. So that's going to be super beneficial with so many things. And then the lavender, it's just super good to kind of calm an inflamed scalp, like if you struggle with dandruff or your pH balances are off when you have like a dry, itchy scalp. It's going to be really good for calming that. And it really doesn't matter. You can use a variety of herbs. I myself have used horsetail herb, and that is super good to give your hair silica, which is super crucial on, how strong and vibrant it grows. So I, for one, last time used horsetail. I kind of experiment with different herbs. You can also do like peppermint, and you can do just a variety of any kind of herb, really. It's just whatever you want to do yourself, so whatever works good for you is good to try. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we are going to pick just a couple of sprigs. So as you can see, I have a variety of things in my garden. And one of the things I like to put in my garden is some pine needles and some foliage that is out in the forest floor. So that is super rich in minerals. It restores the pH balance on your soil. It kind of puts a protective coating against insects and the heat damage that it can be done to your plant. It really helps with that. I also have some mulch out here on top of that, several inches of it, so this way I don't have to water my herbal garden, like when I'm super busy or if I'm out of town. I don't have to worry about it, because in between when we get rain, even if it's a dry season, the several inches of pine needles and leaves and then the mulch, it keeps it all really balanced and it keeps it hydrated down there. And also it really helps with weeds. I know you can see I have some weeds in the middle of my plants where I don't have anything growing, but on the herbs themselves, they do not have hardly any weeds on there because it's so piled up that the weeds can't grow, but it protects the herb where just the herb itself is growing. So I really like doing that method as well. But anyway, back to the hair vinegar. So what you're going to do, you're going to want to get several sprigs of whatever herb you're using, whether it be sage or lavender or horsetail or rosemary. That's another good one. You want to get several sprigs, and then you want to cut them down to the size that you want to infuse in your jar. So depending how much hair you've got, and if it's for several people in your family or just yourself, it's going to depend on how much you make. So what I do, I fill up the jar and I make all of these more even. I will just break some other ones off, make it more even, and I will stuff that in my jar, and then I will fill it up with apple cider vinegar. And so this is going to work really good to infuse. I like to infuse mine in a dark space for up to 6 weeks. You can do more or less depending on how strong you want it, but I like to get every benefit I can from the herb that I am using. So that really works good for me. So I just pack this, pretty good in a jar. You can use dried herb as well. You can use an herbal tea packet, like, just a regular tea bag that you would drink. You can use a mixture of herbs in the herbal tea. You can use fresh sprigs, dried sprigs, just like this, really whatever works for you. So just pack that in there and then coat it with apple cider vinegar until it reaches the absolute top and it covers all the herb. Then just put a regular lid on that, sit it in a dark space, and you are good to go to infuse. You can shake it a couple times if you want to within the next month, but it isn't absolutely necessary, especially if it's fresh and it's just sitting in there. The vinegar will extract all the components out of the plant, but you can just do whatever works for you. So yeah, I will show you here in a second how we're going to make this work. Okay, so we are now back in the house with our freshly picked herbs. And so what you're going to want to do now is you want to get your jar right here and pack it with the lavender like we talked about earlier. So this is just a quart-sized jar, and I am just packing it with just about as much fresh lavender that I can put in here, leaving it on the stem to just get extra vitamins and minerals in there. And it doesn't matter if it's kind of crazy and all different sizes, as long as it just all goes in there well. And another thing I am doing, which this is totally optional, but I picked some fresh rose petals outside in another one of the gardens. And I'm just going to throw that in there for extra vitamins, minerals, and benefits. This is totally just something I chose to do. You don't have to do that. I like to experiment a lot with different herbal remedies that I do to just obtain different benefits and whatnot and see what happens. So I'm going to be using this Garden Harvest apple cider vinegar. This is one of the not so expensive brands, but it's still really good quality. And we get it in a gallon size because we use it for a lot for drinking and cooking and smoking meats and different herbal recipes. So what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to fill up this whole entire jar with apple cider vinegar. Just absolutely fill that up like so. Cover all the herbs if possible. So all of it infuses all the way to the top. And there we go. So then I am going to add the lid on it. And I got these lids, I believe, from eBay. You can check on Amazon or eBay as well. I don't add the metal ones because I don't want that apple cider vinegar to eat away at the metal. Getting that in my hair remedy because it'll rust it, and that's not good. You don't want that in there with your fresh herbs. So here is the finished product. It's really pretty and vibrant. The roses, I feel like, really made a big difference in all of it, and I really like it. And so, like I said, this is optional. You do what you want to do. You can try a mixture of like horsetail and lavender. You could add some rosemary or peppermint in there to really calm an inflamed scalp, and just anything you want you can add in there, and that totally works. It's just up to you and what your body needs. But anyway, we're just going to put this in a dark counter area, or we're going to place it in a cupboard or whatever, to not have sunlight in there, and we're just going to let it infuse for about 4 to 6 weeks, even 8 weeks if you want. And then you can totally strain the herb out after it's done, but you totally don't have to either. Like, it is totally good to just be preserved in there for up to years, and it won't go bad because it just kind of infuses, and then it just totally stays in there unbothered. And so you got, your product to last you however long you want to. So then when you are ready to use this after it's done, you're going, depending on your hair type, and mine's pretty long and thick, so I get about 3 tablespoons, and I fill it up in a bowl of purified filtered water. And I just put those 3 tablespoons in there. Then I pour a little bit over my scalp to just kind of sit, and then I put the rest of my hair in the bowl, and I just kind of soak it in there for a couple minutes. And I specifically wash my hair in the bath when I do that, so I can just kind of really hold it in the bowl and let it really infuse, because that's going to strip your hair from all kinds of, like, let's see, it could strip it from bacteria, any kind of parasite that can get on there. It strips it from any kind of excess buildup of like hair products like sulfates and parabens and anything from like hairspray to anything like that. It strips it 100% of that. It restores your pH balance and it makes it totally cleansed. So after that, your hair is going to feel kind of almost like oily after you get it dried and washed. And the reason of this is because it strips it of everything else that your hair naturally produces healthy sebum in there to replenish your pH levels, and then you're good to go with your scalp being restored and healthy. So it's going to grow faster, and you're going to notice a difference of how it feels texture wise. It's going to make it really sleek, really shiny, and it's just going to boost your hair growth altogether. So that's super good for it. So what I do though, I actually wash my hair with shampoo, and then sometimes I use conditioner, sometimes I don't, and then I soak the apple cider vinegar mixture in my hair, and then I just rinse that off with really cold water, and that helps it to be extra shiny. Just kind of lock that all in there. And then after I do that, I just dry it like normal, and then it really works where you don't have to wash your hair for a couple of days after that, because it kind of replenishes everything and your hair is not going to be like feeling as dirty or itchy anymore. It really cleanses it. It helps for people that get like yeast infections on their scalp or anything like that, dandruff, itchy scalp. Really makes a difference with all of those problems. So yeah, that's just about everything with the product here. So just go like my YouTube channel, please, and follow us on Facebook and subscribe to my channel to get more videos. Thank y'all. See y'all next time.